Alright, this lesson continues our review of Unit 5 Part 2, which is a combination of everything you ever wanted to know for circles and parabolas. This is review D. We did review C in class. So for a complete review, you're going to want to look at review C, D, and E, which is coming to you on Monday. Alright, problem number 1 is all about solving this system of equations. And you should probably notice that what we have here is, wait a minute, what's that in your hand? Is that a pencil? Or a pen? Oh my God! Come on! I don't even know what to say. I'm just going to go on with the video, but you know better. You should be ashamed of yourself. Put the pencil down. Walk away from the pen and nobody gets hurt. Alright. What I was trying to say was the bottom equation is a line, the top equation is a circle. You can tell because both things are squared. So when you put a line and a circle together, they are likely to have two intersection points. Although it's possible to have a tangent and there could be only one. Or it could miss the circle completely and have no solutions. So there are those possibilities. Anyway, this one is going to be relatively easy because we already have y by itself. So substitution is the way to go. Alright, sometimes we set these all equal to each other and sometimes we just do substitution. When we set them equal to each other, that's elimination. But right now, substitution is the best way to go. So this top equation was x squared plus y squared equals 25. But instead of y squared, we will now have x minus 1 squared equals 25. And that makes x squared plus x minus 1 2 times equals 25. That makes x squared plus, and I'm just going to double distribute this, and that's going to make x squared, and then minus 1x and minus 1x make minus 2x, and then positive 1 equals 25. Combining like tisms, alright, x squared plus x squared is 2x squared, minus 2x plus 1 equals 25. Let's go ahead and subtract 25 from both sides. So that's going to give me 2x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. Right now you're noticing that there is a common factor, and we're going to go ahead and divide everything by that common factor of 2. GCF, baby. So that's going to give me x squared minus x minus 12 is equal to 0. This will probably factor nicely if we're lucky. If you ever run into something that doesn't factor, you'll have to use the quadratic formula. X squared is x times x. 6 is either 3 times 4, did I say 6? 12 is either 3 times 4, or it could be 2 times 6, or it could be 1 times 12. Alright, these are the possibilities. Now, considering we're trying to get a negative 1 middle, I'm betting 3 and 4 will work. Now, inner, I have 3x. Outer, I have 4x. What would the signs need to be to make negative 1? I would need a positive 3 and a negative 4 to make negative 1. So there's my positive 3 and there's my negative 4. Also, a positive times a negative is a negative 12, so that's good. Now I'm supposed to set these factors equal to 0. So x plus 3 equals 0 and x minus 4 equals 0. Subtracting 3 gives me x equals negative 3. Okay, adding 4 gives me x equals 4. Alright, of course this is not the final answer. I need to find the y values that go with this. So I like to set it up as a t-chart. X's and y's. So we have x values of -3 and 4. Okay, and we need to find the y values that go with them. Well, we have a y machine right here. Okay, y equals x minus 1. So I'm just going to bring that down. So remember that y equals x minus 1. So right here, that means y is equal to -3 minus 1. That's -4. Right here, this means y is equal to 4 minus 1, which is 3. There's no shame in putting this in your calculator. Alright, those of you who are really good at arithmetic, you're laughing at that. But the reality is there are 5 kids in every class that will mess this up. And I want those kids to pass too, so don't judge. Anyway, these will give us our solutions, but let's go ahead and write them as ordered pairs. So the final answers will be -3, -4, and 4, 3. Okay, fantastic. Alright, let's go back and take a look at problem number 2. Alright, once again, please do not have a pencil or pen in your hand. Alright, learn how to do it, but then go back and get the practice of doing it yourself. If you ignore my warnings and just copy, that's why you probably didn't do very well on the last quiz, or at least you didn't do as well as you should have. So it's time to learn from your mistakes, people. Let's see, shall we do substitution or elimination? I've got y equals x squared, so I could put that in. Whoa, that would make like x to the 4th power. I think we should do I think we should do elimination this time. That's the one where you get everything on one side and set them equal to each other. So let's do that. The reason is, even though I have y by itself, if I try to plug this in, it's already squared. So I'm going to have x squared squared, and we really just haven't dealt with how to handle that. So let's not go there. Let's not go there. Instead, let's get everything on one side. So I would subtract x squared from both sides. No, I think I'll subtract y from both sides. I'll get my 0 over here this time. So subtract y from both sides. Okay, so that's going to give me 0 equals x squared minus y. Okay, over here clearly I'm just going to subtract 20 from both sides. So that's going to give me x squared plus y squared minus 20 equals 0. Okay, so see what I did there? I'm sure you won't mind if I just kind of fake it and turn this into a giant minus sign and have it equaling 0. So let's just pretend that I did that. Okay, so now both of these equal 0, so I can slide this down and set these equal to each other. So I will have x squared plus y squared minus 20 equals x squared minus y. Now, when you go for this method, one of the variables needs to cancel out. I can't have x's and y's. If ever one of the variables doesn't cancel out, then I need to do something else. Okay, but luckily, you see I have x squared on both sides. So these, technically I'm subtracting x squared from both sides, but poof, they're gone. Okay, now I can go ahead and add y to both sides to kind of bring this over. This will not combine with anything, it'll just be in the middle. So I'm going to wind up with y squared plus y minus 20 equals 0. These are gone now. Notice I have no x's. That's important. I just need one variable only or I can't do it. So hopefully this will factor nicely and I won't have to deal with the quadratic formula. Now I'm looking at the y squared. That has to be y times y. Alright, I'm looking at the 20. That's either going to be 4 times 5 or 2 times 10 or 1 times 20. Considering I need a positive 1, I'm betting on 4 times 5. Now inner I have 4y. Outer I have 5y. What would the signs need to be to get a positive 1? I would need a negative 4 and a positive 5 to make positive 1. So there's my negative 4, there's my positive 5. So we'll set these factors equal to 0, so y minus 4 equals 0 and y plus 5 equals 0. Adding 4 gives me y equals 4. Subtracting 5 gives me y equals negative 5. Okay, so we have the y's, but we need the x values that go with them. So I'm going to make my t-chart. So let's see, x and y. Okay, so we have y values negative 5 and 4. We need x values that go with them. So let's see what I have up here. We have y equals x squared, so that's probably the best way to go. So let's see what happens when we use that. So y equals x squared. Okay, so for this problem, that means negative 5 equals x squared. Whoa! Extraneous, right? There's no number that you can square and get a negative answer. Thinking of it another way, if I try to take the square root of both sides, you can't take the square root of a negative number. That's imaginary. Alright, that would be like I radical 5 plus or minus. But we're not doing that. We're looking for intersections, and that wouldn't be one. So this is extraneous. So we're just going to cross that out. Okay, extraneous. Alright, so how about the 4? Let's try that out. Okay, well, if y equals x squared, okay, and y is 4, then that means 4 is equal to x squared. Now this makes sense. If I take the square root of both sides, okay, that's going to be plus or minus 2. Alright, the square root of 4 is 2, so this is plus or minus 2. Please don't forget the plus or minus. Okay, 2 squared is 4, but negative 2 squared is also 4. There are two solutions here. When I look at this, these x values, it could be 2 or negative 2. Okay, so that means when we write our ordered pairs, we're going to write both of those solutions. So it could be 2 comma 4 or negative 2 comma 4. Okay, you just match them both up. So we still have two solutions, even though this y value was extraneous. Okay, watch out for that. I'm not sure exactly what you would do with that -5 if you didn't know, but I don't want to find out. Alright, so that was number 2. By the way, keep in mind, this was a parabola. Y equals x squared was a good old parabola like this. And this was a circle. Okay, so we just found the 2 places where the parabola intersects with the circle. Alright, anyway, it's moving on to number 3. Find the standard form of the equation of the circle given the endpoints of the diameter, blah, blah, blah. Okay, a lot of people messed this up on the last test, and here it is again. I recommend that you draw a picture. Your picture won't be as nice as mine, but do your best. They're talking about a diameter, so let's get a diameter going. Okay, so we've got these endpoints of the diameter, and you can just kind of put them anywhere. Just draw a picture, okay? So I've got 0, -6. I'm going to put that over here, and I've got 5, 6. Now, our goal is to write a standard form equation of a circle. So, remember, guys, the standard form for a circle is like this: x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to the radius squared. And the h and k here are the center of the circle. So the first thing we want is to find the center of the circle. Okay, just going to write that over here, like step 1. Okay, step 1 is find the center. Okay, now the center is just the midpoint of the diameter here. It's just the midpoint. And the way you find the midpoint is you add the x's and divide by 2. You add the y's and divide by 2. I'm stressing add because I saw so many people doing some version of x minus x. Okay, maybe you're thinking of slope. I don't know. But I tried to encourage you to understand that we're taking the average. It's the middle. It should be the average of these. And if you have 2 quiz grades and you want to find out what your quiz average is, you add them up and divide by 2. So that's what we're doing. So the midpoint will be 0 plus 5 divided by 2. Alright, that'll give me the x coordinate. And let's see the y values. -6 plus 6 divided by 2. Okay. And, well, that's just going to give me 5 over 2. And this is going to give me 0 over 2. Okay, well, that's 5 over 2, comma 0. So this is the center of the circle. Okay, now right there, using the 5 over 2, comma 0, let me just put it nearby. Alright, 5 over 2, comma 0. I can write the entire left side of the equation right now. So it's going to be x minus 5 over 2 squared plus y minus 0 squared. Alright, and we still have to find the radius squared. Now, I won't really, in the end, I'm not going to put the 0 in there. I'm just going to erase this and just have y squared. But I'll save that till the next step. Alright, right now I want you to see the 5 over 2 goes there, the 0 goes there, h and k. Okay, so all we need now is the radius, and we'll square that, and then we'll have it. We will have to use the distance formula. So this is going to be step 2. Kind of used up half my space here. So I'll just start it over here. Step 2. Here, I'll use a different color. Okay, step 2. This is where we find the radius and we square it. But we can't go directly there. First, we start with the diameter. Alright, the diameter, of course, is the entire thing. Now we're going to do the distance formula, which is like the square root, and we're going to have x minus x, so that'll be like 5 minus 0 squared, and then we'll do y minus y, so that'll be 6 minus negative 6 squared, and take the square root of all that, and that will be the diameter. Okay, now obviously I can do this by hand, but many of you make all kinds of mistakes when you try to do things by hand. So I encourage you to try doing it by hand to practice, but do not consider yourself done until you put it in the calculator. Okay, so this would be 5 minus 0 quantity squared plus 6 minus negative 6 quantity squared. Okay, that gives me 13. Alright, so that is my diameter. Alright, my diameter is 13. But what I need is my radius. Okay, now the radius is 13. It should be half of this, right? The diameter is the whole thing. The radius is just halfway. Okay, so if this whole thing is 13, then the radius is like 6.5, 6.5. Or you could think of it as 13 divided by 2, 13 halves. I don't know. Should I use decimals? I don't know. I think I'll leave it as a fraction. I would accept it either way. Okay, so our radius is half of this, so that's going to be 13 over 2. Okay, but in the formula, it's not just the radius. It's the radius squared. Alright, so the radius squared will be this 13 over 2 squared. And 13 squared is 169, and 2 squared is 4. Okay, so that makes this the radius squared, and I will just plug it in. Okay, so 169 over 4. Okay, now this is the standard form equation. Alright, and I would accept this as an answer. Okay, now you will never see me write y minus 0 and leave it like that. Okay, minus 0 doesn't really do anything, so I would just write y squared. But I'll accept it either way. So there you go. This is standard form. Okay, that's pretty ugly, so I just want to double check this. Alright, number 4. Alright, make sure you do not have a pencil in your hand, or a pen. Write the standard form equation for the parabola with the given characteristics. So, parabola. Okay, so let's do part A here. We've got a vertex at 10, 0, and a directrix at x equals 8. Now, I didn't give you a graph this time, and sometimes you won't have a graph, so we'll just have to sketch one as best we can. Okay, so I'm sketching a graph. Alright, the vertex is at 10, 0. Okay, so let's say this is 10 right here. Okay, so 10 comma 0 would be right on the line. Okay, that's my vertex. Now I have a directrix, x equals 8. Now x equals a number is always a vertical line. If it was y equals, it would be horizontal. So we need to draw a vertical line at 8. So if this is 10, let's say this is 8 right here. And this is our directrix. Okay, x equals 8. If the directrix is on the left, that means the parabola must be facing to the right, by the way. Okay, and maybe I'll just do a little bit of a sketch right now. Okay, that helps us visualize where the, well, maybe I don't need anything else. Because all we're supposed to do is write an equation. So I think I have enough information to write the equation. So let's just do it. Okay, based on the vertex. Well, see, we had to sort of get this picture in our head to know whether we should write the version of the equation that has x squared equals 4p times y minus k, or if we should use the version of the equation that goes y squared equals 4p times x. Okay, and because the parabola is sideways, that means it is a y squared graph. So that's how we know to use this version. If it had been up or down, I would have used x squared first. So this is the model. Now the vertex is your h and your k. Be careful, the x value goes in the x part of this equation, and the y value goes in the y part. So the 10 is going to go here, x minus 10, and the 0 is going to go here, y minus 0. Alright, in the end I'm going to erase the minus 0 part again. But we also need the p. And the p value is going to be the same as the distance here between 8 and 10. From 8 to 10, obviously these are 2 apart. So that tells me that p is equal to 2. And I know it's positive 2 because we're going to the right instead of the left. Okay, so p is positive 2. Okay, so if I plug in 2 for p, then 4 times 2 is 8. So in the end, I will have y squared, I'm erasing the minus 0 part, equals 8 times x minus 10. And that is the final answer. Okay, that's A. Let's do B. Okay, we have the focus at 3, 0, and we have the directrix again. So again, let's make a sketch. Alright, 3, 0. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I always make my focus in green for some reason. So this is the focus here at 3, 0. Okay, the directrix is at x equals negative 3. Alright, that is a vertical line. So let's put it where it goes. Alright, so negative 1, negative 2, and negative 3. Vertical line. Okay, now the parabola wraps itself around the focus. Alright, so the parabola is going to be in this area right here, going like this. Okay, but I need to know where the vertex is. Now, the vertex should be right in the middle between the focus and the directrix. So I know the vertex is actually going to be right here, halfway, at 0, 0. So that's the key piece of information that I needed. And I also, again, notice that this will be facing to the right because the parabola must always wrap around the focus. So I know that the vertex is 0, 0. Because it is sideways, once again I'm going to be using the y squared version of this model. So I'm doing y minus h, no, they call it k for the y value. I'm doing y minus k squared is equal to 4p times x minus h. Okay, sideways means y squared. Yeah. Now, the vertex is 0, 0, so that means h and k are both 0. So that's going to give me y minus 0 squared is equal to 4p, I'm sort of leaving a gap here, times x minus 0. Okay, there's my vertex. Now, looking at the picture, you should know what the p-value is as well. Okay, the p-value is this distance right here from the vertex to the focus. So I know that p is 3. It's positive because it's going to the right. Alright, so if p is 3, then I've got 12 right here. And when I recopy this, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these zeros. So I will have y squared is equal to 12x. Okay. If you left the zeros in, I wouldn't mark it wrong. So that's B. Alright, there's a C and a D. Let's check those out. Alright, no pencils please. Watch me and learn, but go back and do it yourself. It's the only way to truly learn. Okay, vertex, directrix. Let's do a sketch. Okay, my vertex is at 5, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. So my vertex is going to be right about here. Okay, I'll label it later. The directrix is y equals 1. Y equals is a horizontal line. Alright, you just have to memorize. Y equals is horizontal. X equals is vertical. So I have a horizontal line at 1. That means my directrix is right here. Okay, that tells me that my parabola is upward facing because it has to go away from the directrix. Okay, and remember this was the point 5, 2 right here. What else? The p-value. We know the p-value as well. Alright, because the p-value is this distance right here. Okay, this is p, and it's so small it is 1. Okay, these are the directrix and the vertex here are 1 apart. That's going to be the p-value. Okay, and it's positive because it's up. So now I can write the equation. Because it is upward facing, when it's up and down, I use the x squared version of the equation. So I'm going to do the x minus h squared is equal to 4p times y minus k not squared version. And in goes the vertex. So the 5 goes here and the 2 goes here. So this is going to become x minus 5 squared is equal to 4 times p. Okay, I'm leaving a space for it. And then y minus 2 because of that. Now, we saw that the p-value is 1. And of course 4 times 1 is just 4. Okay, so the final answer is x minus 5 squared is equal to 4 times y minus 2 not squared. Okay, that is how you do C. Alright, let's take a look at D. Let's make a sketch. Okay, 9, 5, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is the focus. So the focus is going to be about here. The directrix, y equals -5. Y equals is always a horizontal line. And that's at -5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so my directrix will be down here. Okay, this is going to tell me where the vertex is, because the vertex should be right in the middle between these two, dead center. So this is up 5, this is down 5. That means the vertex must be right on the line. I also know that it will be wrapped this way because it has to wrap itself around the focus. So it is up. Okay, just like the last problem, because it is up, that tells me to use the x squared version of the equation. So x minus h squared is equal to 4p times y minus k not squared. Now, the coordinates of the vertex here are 9, 0. Okay, so that means that this h value is 9 and this k value is 0. It also, I can see the p value, alright, because the p value is going to be this distance from the vertex to the focus. Alright, so if I look at this distance, see how it's up 5? So that tells me that p is 5. Okay, so I'm going to put 5 in for p. 4 times 5 is 20. So when I write this out, making these three substitutions, I'm going to have x minus 9 squared is equal to 20. And I have y minus 0, but I'm not going to put the minus 0 part. It's tacky. So I'm just going to put y squared, because y minus 0 is just y. If you leave it as y minus 0 squared, I won't mark it wrong. Wait, it's not supposed to be squared. Whoa. I almost made a classic blunder. This is a parabola. Obviously, only one side is squared, not two. So why didn't you guys tell me that when I put down the model in the first place? Made me look foolish. I gotta speak up. What? Oh, you did speak up. Oh, okay. I guess I just didn't hear you. Alright, I'm getting old. My hearing's not so good as it used to be. Okay. But my eyes are good. I can still spot that cell phone a mile away in class. Alright, anyway, find the center and the radius of this circle. So remember, we're mixing parabolas and circles, all that good stuff on this test. So we're going to have to complete the square. We have to put this in standard form. So what you want to do is gather all your x terms together and your y terms. So here are my x terms, right? So I have x squared plus 8x, alright, leave a space. Okay, and then I have so my y terms are right here. So then I have y squared, plus y squared minus 6y. Again, leave a space. Whoa. Okay, and that's going to equal, while we're at it, let's go ahead and move this 15 out of the way. So let's add 15 to both sides, shall we? So I'll have positive 15 over there. Okay, now it is time to complete the square. Half the middle squared is what we do. So half of this is 4. Square it, you get 16. You must immediately add it to both sides of the equation. Alright, don't forget that. That used to be a classic mistake. Half of this is 3. Square it, you get 9. Again, added to both sides. So, anytime you complete the square like that, it guarantees that this is going to factor as the same thing twice. So this factors as x plus 4 twice. Okay, and then this part factors as y minus 3 twice. Okay, meanwhile, over here, okay, 15 plus 16, that's 31, plus 9 is 40. So I got 40. Okay, meanwhile, putting all this together, I have x plus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 40. So this is the standard form equation that we need. Alright, this tells us the center, which will be the opposite of this and the opposite of this. So the center is negative 4, comma 3. Now remember, this 40 is the radius squared. So to get the radius, you have to take the square root of both sides. Okay, there's no plus or minus this time because it's a length. So that means the radius is the square root of 40. Okay, and you can just leave it like that. But since we're going to graph it, though, I guess we do need the decimal version. Ha, 2 radical 10, look at that. But the decimal, anyway, so that's 6.3. Approximately. That's what these wavy lines mean. 6.3. Okay, so starting from a center of negative 4, 3. Alright, so negative 4, 3 is right here. I could go 6.3 in all directions. Alright, so this is 4, 5, 6, and a little bit. Let's see, 4, it's 4, 5, 6. Oh, right, and a little bit. Okay, so that's 3, 6, and a little bit. 3, 6, and a little bit. Okay. Let's see if I can cheat this out. Okay, so there's my circle. And I guess that's it, actually. We're done. So that was number 5. Good times. Okay, number 6. Alright, we need to find the vertex and stuff for this parabola. Okay, so just like we just did, we are going to have to complete the square. I need to move this. Alright, I need it over here where I can see it. Okay. So we are going to complete the square. Notice that the x value is squared. That tells me to keep the x's on the left and move everything else away. So with that in mind, I am going to subtract 4y and subtract 5 from both sides. So minus 4y minus 5. So these are all gone. So I will continue on to complete the square. So bringing the x's down, I've got x squared plus 6x. Leave a space. Okay, and then over here I've got negative 4y minus 5. Okay, so yeah, anytime you see general form like this, convert it to standard form by completing the square. So I will need to do half of the middle squared. So half of this is 3, and then 3 squared is 9. Boom! Immediately do it to both sides. Completing the square guarantees that this will factor as the same thing twice. So x plus 3 times x plus 3. Meanwhile, over here I have negative 4y plus 4. Okay, I just combine these like terms. So this will be the same thing as x plus 3 squared is equal to. And on this side, I will just factor out the common factor. Alright, it's always going to be this number in the front. So it'll be negative 4 and then y minus 1. Has to be minus 1, please. Don't just see the plus and put a plus. Alright, because I brought out a negative 4, imagine doing the distributive property. Negative 4 times y is negative 4y. But it takes a negative times a negative to make a positive. So it had to be minus 1. Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I guess I have to say it. Another way to think of it is when you factor something out, you can think of it as dividing by the thing you're pulling out. Okay, so these would cancel and leaving y. But 4 divided by negative 4 again is negative 1. There, I said it. Okay, anyway, so this is the standard form version of the equation. And so we needed that. And now we can use this to answer all the other questions. So, because this is x squared, we know that's either up or down. Because this 4 is negative, we know it opens down. Okay, we know the vertex right now. It's the opposite of this and then that. So it'll be negative 3, comma 1. Okay, let's go ahead and graph that. So negative 3, comma 1, vertex would be right there. Okay, now the focus. To get the focus, we need the p value. And so this thing in front is 4p. So 4p equals negative 4. If I divide both sides by 4, I will get p. So I find out that p equals negative 1. So now I knew this parabola was going to open down. Now I know that it's going to go down 1 because of the p-value. So I will go down 1, and that will be my focus. Okay, so that means my focus is negative 3, comma 0. Alright, the directrix should be the same amount in the other direction. So my directrix is going to be up here. Alright, 1 down, 1 up. Okay, horizontal lines are always y equals. So this will be y equals 2 because it's up at 2. Okay, the focal width comes from this number right here. Ignore the negative sign though. The focal width is 4. Alright, that means at the focus, the width of the parabola is 4. So if I go 2 to the right and 2 to the left, that gives me a total width of 4. And that's what's meant by the focal width. And that gives me enough information to draw the parabola. Okay, and that is it for whatever problem number this was. Number 6. Alright, last but not least, number 7. Alright, this was one of the most missed questions on the last test. And here it is again. Alright, so if you got it wrong before, please watch carefully so you don't miss it again. Okay, what you want to do is draw a picture of what's happening. It's very, very important to understand that looking at this circle, we should be knowing what the center is right now. Alright, that's going to be crucial. So the center of this circle, alright, it's the opposite of this and the opposite of this, alright? This is 0, okay? So that's just going to be 0. But the opposite of this is -4. So this is my center, guys. Okay, so let's get this picture going. So we're talking about a circle. Okay, so just draw yourself a circle. And we know what the center is. So let's draw that. So here's the center. And the center is at 0, -4. Now, we're supposed to be finding the equation of some tangent line. Okay, so just draw a tangent line anywhere. It doesn't have to be accurate right now. Alright, just draw a tangent line. And of course, a tangent line is just going to graze the circle at one point. Okay, so something like that. And they're giving us the point of tangency. Alright, we have a line tangent to this circle at the point -4, -1. Okay, so let's call this point -4, -1. Alright, now looking at these coordinates, they really should have been lower, but that just goes to show it doesn't matter. Okay, just make it a diagram, a circle, a tangent, a center, a point of tangency. And it will all work out regardless of the fact that my picture's crooked. Okay, so we want to find the equation of this line. Okay, so in the end, anytime you want an equation of a line, okay, you're talking about y equals mx plus b. So our final answer is going to be in this form. It's going to be like y equals something times x plus something. So what we need is the m and the b, the slope and the y-intercept. So step 1 is finding the slope. Okay, so let's do that. So step 1. Okay, find slope. Okay, we're looking for the equation, so we need the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, now we can't find the slope directly. We only have one point. So, but what we can do is first we can find the slope of the radius. So let's start with that, because if we have the radius, then we'll be able to find the slope of the tangent. So start by finding the slope of the radius, shown here in green. Okay. So the radius. Hold on. Let me spell it out for you. So we're going to find, we'll start with, okay, slope of the radius. Okay, to find the slope of the radius, we will use the slope formula, which is like y minus y over x minus x. Some of you did this upside down, okay? So please, please, please understand that slope, the y's are in the top and the x's are in the bottom. It's y minus y over x minus x, okay? So, it doesn't matter in which order you subtract as long as you do it the same way both times. So I'm going to use the high one minus the low one. So y minus y, negative 1 minus negative 4. Okay, so negative 1 minus negative 4. Notice the double negative here, minus a negative, okay, because the second number is a negative number. Alright, and then I'll have negative 4 minus 0, x minus x. Okay, many of you set this up correctly, but then got the wrong answer because you're not good at these sorts of calculations. So, if you did not do well on the last test, please, 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 I beg you to use your calculator for this. Okay, I hate to see you get it wrong because you don't know how to subtract properly. Okay, so we're going to do negative 1 minus negative 4. Okay, people that are good at arithmetic will go, oh, that's just negative 1 plus 4. But anyway, let's use a calculator. And then, of course, we have negative 4 minus 0. I'm hoping everybody knows that I really didn't even need to do that. That's just going to be negative 4. Anyway, if I just type it in my calculator, I get negative 3 over 4. Okay, some of you guys don't know what to do with the signs, you know. Anyway, just use your calculator. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so we got the slope of the radius is negative 3 over 4. Okay, now we can find the slope of the tangent line, which is what we really want. Okay, I just feel like making it purple because I'm about to go purple on this mess. Okay, so we found the slope of the radius. Now I'm going to find the slope of the tangent. Okay, now the thing is, a radius will always be perpendicular to the tangent line. And a long time ago you should have learned that if two lines are perpendicular, their slopes will be opposite and reciprocal. So if one of them is negative, the other one will be positive. That's the opposite part. So I'm going to have positive something. And then reciprocal means the fraction will be turned upside down. So instead of 3 over 4, I will have 4 over 3. And I go from negative to positive. So opposite in sign and reciprocal. So this is the slope of the tangent. Okay, now remember, I told you we needed two things. We need the slope and we need the y-intercept, the m and the b. Step 1 was to find the slope. We got it. It's 4 over 3. So we can put that in. So this is 4 over 3. The last thing we need to find the y-intercept. We need to find b. Okay, well, we have the m. So what we do now is we need to pick a point to plug in for y and x. Okay, so the last step here is, so step 2 is find the b value, find the y-intercept. And all you do is you pick a point that's on the line. Alright, a common mistake, some kids were trying to use the center. The center is not on this purple line. It's not on the tangent that we're finding the equation of. We only have one point on the line, and it is the point of tangency. So that's what we have to use. Of course, this is x and this is y. So as we plug into y equals mx plus b, the y value is -1. The m is the slope that we just found, 4/3. The x value is -4. And we're finding b. Put this in your calculator if you have to. But it should be -16/3 plus b. Okay, to get b by itself, I need to add 16/3 to both sides. Okay, so that gets b finally by itself. So I'll have b equals -1 plus 16/3. I'm just going to throw that in the old calculator. Alright, -1, did I say plus? Yeah, -1 plus 16/3. Okay, and I'm getting 13/3. So this is my b value. And that's the last thing I needed to write this equation. I had the slope, and then I needed, step 2 was to find the b. And I found it. It's 13/3. So I'm just going to write it neatly off to the side. Putting it all together, the final answer is y equals 4/3x plus 13/3. Okay, that is the equation of the line that's tangent to the circle at this point. Okay, one more time, just quickly in summary. The way I found this, let me just run through all the steps fast. First, I looked at the equation, I got the center. Alright, then I drew a picture with the center and the point of tangency, and this purple is a tangent line. I understood that since I'm being asked to find an equation of this line, that had to be like y equals mx plus b. So I needed to find the slope and the y-intercept. That's why step 1 is to find the slope, and step 2 is to find the y-intercept, b. Okay, but finding the slope we had to do in 2 stages. First we had to find the slope of the radius, and then we convert that to the slope of the tangent. So we found the slope of the radius by doing y minus y over x minus x. Okay, the green is the radius here. So that's how I found the -3/4. I found the slope of the tangent by doing opposite and reciprocal, because they are perpendicular, as you can see. So I made it positive, turned it upside down. That gave me the slope, step 1. And I could plug it in right here. Step 2 was to find the y-intercept. So I had to pick a point on the line. Can't use the center. I had to use this point. And I plugged the x and the y in for x and y, along with the slope that I just found. And that allowed me to solve for b. And I could plug that back in. And that's how I got this final answer. Now, if you're smart, you were not just copying me that whole time. Now I know, first of all, only five kids from your class are watching this video. Of those 5 kids that are watching this, 3 of you have a pencil in your hand. Oh, actually, 3 of you did have a pencil, but you already turned off the video and you're not listening to me anymore. But anybody that is listening to me, guys, please stop copying off the video. Because there will be no video to help you on the test. You need to make sure you can go back and do this entire thing on your own. Anyway, that was the last problem. So I hope this video was helpful to you, and I will see you on the next video. One more review coming.